everything.
Alright guys, so today we are back in SoloLearn. We're going to be doing the variable basic concepts here. It's a little bit of a long section, but let's go ahead and dive right in. So we have variables. Variables are basically stuff that stores data. Which keyword is telling that you've worked with before in terms of if this is not we can also output. The audio is cutting in and out. We can also output the value using document.writex. So if we want to declare the variable, it's just var and then the name of the variable and then the assignment operator. Variable names are also case sensitive, so if you have you typically want to start with a letter in your oh, actually, I believe we can do this. Mathematical operators, I don't think so. And I don't believe numbers. So you can start with the underscore or letters as it. There's also, and this is a good thing, I like to do this where I save these and come back to it. I'll go ahead and just save this image here and I'll come back and look back at it. Some of the rules to follow, you'll see all this sort of stuff. Reserved words in JavaScript. These are basically words you cannot use in JavaScript because they already do something in JavaScript. Which characters cannot be used in variable names? Special symbols cannot be used. Alright, cool. Pretty straightforward. Now we're going to talk about data types. So we were talking about variables where you store data. Now when you store the data, it gives you different types of data. You don't assign the variable type, but it inherits it by what the value of the data is. So in this case, we have var age. We pass in 18, the legal adult age of a American citizen. It then takes on the type of number because it's in there as an integer. Let's go ahead and continue on. A floating point number is still a number, but it has a decimal place. That's all it is. It has decimals with it. It's not a whole integer. In order to create a string, we just need quotation marks. That means it's a basically a word or a character, or a series of characters rather. Now you can do single quotes, double quotes, new line, backslash, tab, /t, backspace. These are all inserts that you can do to your string here. So you'll see right here we're adding single quotes, and the escape character is what the backslash is kind of referred to as. And so in this case, we want to do backslash to get the double quotes going on in there. Another thing that you could do is just use single quotes on the outside and double quotes on the inside, and it'll work just as well, or vice versa. You just have to use the opposite. All right, so Boolean values are true or false. It's one or the other, always. That's what it means to be a Boolean. We also have the math operators, which are pretty cool as well. These are going to be similar. The only thing that may be confusing to people who are new, you should know multiplication, division, subtraction, and addition. Modulus is when you divide. So if we have 5 modulo 3, it's going to have a remainder of 2. It's basically the remainder. So if you have 10 modulo 9, it'd be a remainder of 1. It's always the remainder. And then increment basically just takes that number and adds 1 to it. And same thing with decrement, except in the opposite direction. So in our example, a is equal to 10, a plus plus. Now a is equal to 11. What will the display be in the result of the following statements? So we have 5 plus 7, which is 12. And when it goes out, we're going to go ahead and write out because our variable is storing this value. The multiplication operator works just as you would expect. The asterisk is the multiplication operator. And the division operator is the backslash. And let's see here. The modulo operator is the percent sign. which may also be the modulo name. So in this case, 35 divides into 38 7 times evenly to equal 35. So our modulo remainder would be 3. Go on, and then you have increment plus plus, decrement minus minus, and then var. You can do the same thing for the var. So this pre-increment means that if we do a is equal to plus plus b, a is equal to 11, b is equal to a is equal to, oh, this is interesting. A is equal to 11, b is equal to 11, and then a is equal to b plus plus. So b gets added, but a doesn't. Okay, that makes sense. So increment and decrement are used for adding or subtracting one from a number. Cool. So you also have the assignment operators. The equal plus equals, so x plus equals would be that value plus or equals to y is equivalent to x is equal to x plus y. Same thing with the minus. It's that value and then you minus something. And same thing with the multiplication and the modulo and everything else. So please calculate and type the resulting value of the following expression. The result is 20. So the result is 20 would be result times 5. So 20 times 5 is 100. Comparison operators. The comparison operators are used in logical statements to determine whether or not. So you have double equals, checks if the value is equal but not the type. And what I mean by that, it'll return true or false. The comparison operators always return true or false. Now, double equals is equal to. Now, triple equals is identical to, meaning it's the same value and the same type. And then you have not equals to, which is, again, the value. Not equals equals to, which is not identical. And then greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Pretty much just know that the value, so if this 5 was equal to 10, this would return false. Now, if 5 was equal, quotation, 5, quotation, that would also return false because it's the wrong type as well. Let's go on. Please enter the corresponding operators to make all the values correct. So these are equal. These are not equal. And then val 1 is less than. And then val 2 is strictly equals or exactly equal to type and value. Let's see here. And then we have logical and Boolean operators. Logical operators, also known as Boolean. You have AND, which basically takes one statement and says, is this true? And is this true? If so, return true. And if the one's false, it'll return false. Then you have OR, which returns true if either OR are true or false. If all are false, it's going to return false. And then returns true if the operand is false, and false is this. Basically, if you want to do the opposite. Logical returns true if both operands are true. Logical operators, you can combine statements to get different booleans. For instance, 10 is less than 5 is a true statement. 4 is greater than 2 is true, so that's true and true. You can also do a ternary operator, which basically will save you some time. This is something that I always forget how to do just because I don't ever do it, but it's actually a great skill set to do some shorthand. So it's basically the condition, and then if it's true, return this, else return this. That's basically what it's saying. So if the age is less than 18, that's true, you're too young. If it's greater than 18, old enough, right? Which is kind of a creepy way of saying, like, dating wise. Like, I felt like that was a dating statement. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just a dirty old man. Logical not returns true if the operand is false. Logical, I believe that's correct. There we go. String operators. And if it takes you a second to say these things and read through them, don't sweat it. Definitely let it sink in. String operators. The most useful operators for strings is concatenation. So you can concatenate strings by using the plus sign. So what is the output of the following code? Var x is equal to 50, var y is equal to 100. And this will actually add them together because it will go ahead and assume that this is 150 because they're both numbers. No? Oh, excuse me, they're strings. My mistake. I didn't see that. So because these are strings, they're going to concatenate them together, and you can get 50,100. They're not going to actually do any math operators. They're just going to add them as if they were words. So we have the modulo 2 quiz. So choose names that are acceptable for JavaScript variables. That and that. Can't have these weird numbers, and can't start weird symbols, and can't have it start with a number. Please fill in the data types shown in the field below. So some text is a string, and then true is a boolean, and then of course 12 is the number. They already tell us that. And then finally, what is the result of the expression var1 and var2? If var1 is true and var2 is false, that's going to be false because both of these have to equate to true. So going to put false. It's always going to be, when you're doing these comparisons, it's never going to be undefined. It's going to return a boolean. Bam! Alright, that's today's section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and support me on Patreon, patreon.com/codingtutorials360. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Special thanks to our sponsor, Dev Mountain. If you're interested in a coding bootcamp, why don't you check them out, where they include housing alongside their tuition so you can get up, go, and immerse yourself in the environment. If you want to support me, go over to patreon.com/codingtutorials360 so we can put out more content. Thanks for watching.